Mr. Hubbell, what is the name of your place?
Leon Leal.
Leon Leal?
Yes.
And why did you use that name? Does it have meaning?
The Leal means he who is God, or who is God's. And the Leon is a large tree. And I had wanted a word that has to do with bringing material and spiritual things together. And a tree sort of symbolizes that, you know, with the branches in the sky and the roots in the earth. So it brings the two together.
So then you had an idea to build a place like this for a long time?
No.
No?
The name is really very recent.
Yes, but the idea for the structures and building a home in this manner, how long have you had that idea?
Well, no, the thing sort of evolved because I'm not really an architect. I needed a place to live, so we built one house, and then another house grew in. So I had no idea that we would eventually build all this. It's not a preconceived, premeditated thing.
Do you think it's an expression of your art?
Hopefully it's an expression of my life.
Of your life?
I think that art, if it's not an expression of your life, it's probably not worth doing.
What materials did you begin working with eventually? Not necessarily here, but no, in your work.
Well, I mainly did watercolors for years. And then gradually got into doing other kinds of paintings, and then I got out of the Army and I couldn't get into the painting department in a school, so I had to take sculpture. So I got into sculpture that way. I really like nature. And so most of my life I've lived in the country, and I take the forms. I like to draw from nature. So a lot of the forms come from things like that, like trees and water and things. So there's that element. The other thing is that when I start a job, I try not to come to the job with a preconceived idea. When you start a job, it's like you're starting a language, the particular building or the job, and you have to be careful to keep it so that it's consistent. So if you used a chrome doorknob on this door, it would look, like putting a chrome nose on a person. It would look strange.
Right.
So it's really, you almost have to do it. You can't really. It's the type of building that has to be consistent. There's a certain amount of functional reason for the pool being black, absorbs heat and things, but I really did it because I wanted to see what it would look like. On nature, it really isn't that. The quality has to do with uniqueness. You know, that each leaf is different, and each leaf faces in a different direction. And somehow, the thing we're trying to do is to make individuals significant, or understand things in a large sense, so that the individual is part of it. And then the individual and the small thing becomes unique.
You have several people working with you. Are most of them, are they assistants, or are they just people studying with you, or what's the situation?
Mostly they're working for me, but I guess they're learning too, so they're sort of apprentice.
This is a leaded glass window for a private home that I'm working on. It's commission. We usually do just commissions, and I do all the commission work right now, but we have had as many as 3 people in the past working, depending on the amount of work that we have. It's a pretty lengthy process, time-consuming, but the outcome is good. What I'm doing now is leading the window. First I'm given a cartoon, which I cut the pieces from, and then this is the next step. It varies in the time it takes to build a window. Something like this is probably going to take me 2 7-hour days to cut, and then almost twice as long as that to let it up.
We're talking to Mr. J. Martin, who owns the Triton restaurants, where James Hubbell has done an awful lot of the work. And James Hubbell also did some work on the Martin residence. And so we want to talk to you a little bit about that, Jay. Primarily, what did he do so far as the front of your house is concerned?
Well, basically, when we started with the house, we had Jim come out and walk through it with us, and we talked about all the different areas of the house and what we wanted to do to it as a whole. And he did the overall design for the house for the remodel. As it turned out in the front here, the majority of the work you see is designed by Jim, and the doors themselves Jim made, and then 90% of the brickwork Jim came out and started on it, and then myself and another one of Jim's workers finished it.
Did you have anything to do with the design of the doors, or did you leave this entirely up to him?
Well, pretty much with Jim, anytime you do anything, or he does anything for you, you leave it up to him. He's very easy to work with. I'm not saying that to give you the feeling that he's unmovable, but he has so much talent, it's awful hard to say, Jim, do this or do it this way. So I chose materials. I asked him to make them out of oak. I told him I liked bevel glass quite a bit. He talked with my wife about colors. And other than that, I didn't have anything to say about it.
Mm-hmm. What other kinds of things did he do for the house? Did he design some things for the inside of the house that we'll be able to see later?
Quite a few things, really. He's done several windows for us in different parts of the house. He did a watercoloring for a bathhouse that we did. And the bathhouse was made primarily of tile, redwood, and glass. And he helped us quite a bit on that. We've done quite a bit of brickwork on the inside of the houses to kind of bring the outside into the inside, and Jim did the major design on that, and then we pretty much put it together.
But he also made suggestions for the front of the house here with the pillars and the walkway and things of that nature.
Well, very much so. He does things that he likes to refer to as impressions. A lot of people would call them architectural renderings, and they come out with, they're nothing near what you'd call working drawings. In other words, there aren't any specifications on them, but he does a little watercolor on them and a lot of free-flowing lines, and we build from that. And basically that's what we did here.
That's why Jim Hubbell's are totally unique and always will be. He's got the ability to conceive, and he's got the power to do it. And it scares a lot of people.
Do you have a favorite work of Jim's in both of the restaurants?
I do. It's kind of unfair to have a favorite one. They're all so nice. There's a window in the college restaurant that is very meaningful to me and to Lou in the bar. It's about 3 feet high and about 13 and a half feet long. Lou and I first saw it with Jim in his shop up in his home up in San Isabel, and we liked it so much. Jim just at that time just quipped. He says, "Well, someday I'll build a restaurant around it for you."
Do you have a favorite work of Jim's in both of the restaurants?
I do. It's kind of unfair to have a favorite one. They're all so nice. There's a window in the college restaurant that is very meaningful to me and to Lou in the bar. It's about 3 feet high and about 13 and a half feet long. Lou and I first saw it with Jim in his shop up in his home up in San Isabel, and we liked it so much. Jim just at that time just quipped. He says, "Well, someday I'll build a restaurant around it for you." There's a window in the college restaurant that is the North Star, and it doesn't have the wise men in it, but it has a desert scene in it, and we never saw it.
Which one is that?
It's on the north wall. It's the big one in the dining room. Well, building the restaurant down there was a total experience in that we had complete control of it ourselves. We didn't involve any outside contractors, and And decisions were made on the spot, and they were made by Jim or myself or Lou.
The building itself at Cardiff didn't really reflect maybe what you and Jim wanted to do, but then his work is still very prominent through there. How did you accomplish this?
Well, it didn't really reflect our original plan and design. It is, as a whole, it is Jim's design, and we're very happy with it. I don't mean to say we're not. It's just that it is different from the one we had started with. But then once we converted and went into the building, the style and so forth that we ended up with, we went at it 100%. And Jim did a lot of really fun things on the inside that definitely bear his trademark. Lou and I have always said that he lives in another world. He exists on another plane. And I totally, fully believe it. And the more I get to know him, the more I work with him or he works with me, I see it. And I see it in every aspect of his work. And he's just, he's on another level. He's above us. There's a window in the Cardiff restaurant that is about a 10-foot in diameter circular window. And when he finally put it in, we stood back and looked at it, and it was a seabird. And you could see the bird very plainly. Mm-hmm. And you look at it some more, and he just stood there and giggled just like a little kid, because we didn't see what he really meant the window to be, which is, in fact, a mermaid wrapped around the moon, and then the seabird is on the shore. And it's an absolutely beautiful window, and I would venture 90% of the public has no idea what it is. The murals that he did in Cardiff were, they were definitely his biggest expression in painting. He had not done anything anywhere near that size. He's done a few murals, in public buildings, but nothing that large, and nothing on a ceiling basis. It was something that he was very excited about from the start, I'm sure because he hadn't done it before. He did the one downstairs first, trying out different techniques and methods of painting. The one downstairs is approximately a third, no more, as large as the one upstairs. It took him a week and a half to do it. He waited for about 3 weeks before he started on the one upstairs because his neck was sore. And when he started the one upstairs, he told us he was going to start it on Monday. And on a Sunday, Lou and I walked into the building after we had gone to church for no reason, just to kind of look at it. And we heard a radio on, and we thought, oh, well, we left the radio on the day before. And we went upstairs, and Jim was sitting up on a scaffold, listening to the radio and whistling to himself and painting away. And he finished it by midday Monday. So he did it in a day and a half. It was incredible. One of the most interesting things to me in Jim Hubbell's stained glass work is his individuality. You see so many people doing repetitions of old antique-type stained glass, or you see him doing a picture of a bird or a picture of a man or this, that, or the other thing. And with Jim's, you are looking at a picture, but it may not be the same picture that Jim was drawing. And for each individual, possibly it's another picture. Jim Hubbell, the man, Jim Hubbell's personality is as much an art as his own art itself. He's a rare individual, and he's totally intermingled, entangled, tied up by, or involved with his own art.
This building was the first building we built about 22 years ago. In the beginning, it was a bedroom. At one time, 5 of us slept in here. And now it's pretty much an office. I use it for doing sketches and designing, making models, and that type of work. The samples for the glass that we buy are up here. And I don't know, there's drawings and models. I call it architecture of jubilation because the astronomers use that word in describing the universe and the sort of rhythms that seem to be going on in the universe. You can't think of a building as being a bathroom and a kitchen. It's not a set of functional things. It has functional elements, but it has to have the other elements of what it is to be human. This little book is Love Letters to the Earth. It was a first book of poetry that I put together some years ago, 1975, I guess.
Jim is a man of great modesty, nobility, and dignity, a man of special grace. His idealism and faith in humanity are expressed in everything he does, and he does so many things. He is a sculptor driven and inspired by the temperament of a great builder. He integrates sculpture with architecture, together with freshness and magic as revealing as the beauty of life, in the beauty of life as his poetry. Through his genius, he has the mysterious power to excite reflection and inspire hope and elation. He shows us the splendor and the harmony of nature and bids us celebrate with him a reverence for life. Jim, it seems to me, makes us aware that art is earth, air, fire, and water, a great basic element that belongs everywhere. Mankind, it seems to me, cannot live without it. Oscar Wilde has said, "What is beautiful is a joy for all seasons and a possession for all eternity." Mr. Hubbell's works are indeed a joy which will last for all eternity. Jim Hubbell. Come on up here. I have with me a proclamation duly signed by all the members of the Board of Supervisors unanimously. This proclamation, and I'll read it, says, "Whereas it has been written that art is a treating of the commonplace with the feeling of the sublime, the conveyance of spirit by means of matter, and whereas James T. Hubbell, sculptor, architect, painter, muralist, illustrator, stained glass designer, poet, and visionary, is a contemporary Renaissance man, and whereas through his intimate and reverent knowledge of the stars and space, sunbeams and mountain shadows, man's and earth's magnificent ramifications, Hubbell has made art a way of life. And whereas James T. Hubbell has crafted the earth's commonplace into sublime architectural artistry, fashioned rainbows into stained glass, and sculpted words and woods with equal equanimity, I knew I couldn't say that. And whereas his paean to the universe's endless glories has received national and international acclaim for his unique interpretation of beauty, form, and color, Now therefore be it proclaimed by Chairman Roger Hitchcock and the Board of Supervisors of the County of San Diego that Wednesday, the 12th day of November 1980, be declared James T. Hubbell Day in the County of San Diego in recognition of the splendor of his skills, conveyance of his spirit, and the eternity of his talent. Let's turn this around and we'll get a little more pictures. Congratulations.